There's a line from Scarface that's been quoted so many times, and you'll know this one. First, you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. This line is from a movie, but I feel like it's become a cultural code. Reflects the story that we've inherited. And we've inherited the story without really questioning it, because it's one of those stories that's woven into the very fabric of how we live, what we do. It's the story that says that money is the gateway to power, and power is the gateway to everything else. Status, control, love, freedom. And if you haven't seen the movie, you will have seen this expression about getting the money as a way to get everything else in so many different ways. Secure the bag, make the first million, be the boss. We dress up this understanding as ambition, as hustle culture, as self-improvement. But beneath it all, it's the same message. You must own in order to matter. And that idea that's so casual and so unquestioned has shaped how billions of people live, work, and even dream. And I want to ask in this video, where did this belief come from and where is it taking us? Why do we still worship it? What does it cost us, both as an individual and as humanity, to believe that power and even love are things that have to be bought? In this world, we believe deeply that money gives you options. Options are what give you control. And control, with this understanding, is what gives life its meaning. But this wasn't always the case. This is a relatively modern idea. It's a modern idea that took shape over centuries, and it's a merger of various things like religion, morality, and even economics. Socialist Mark Weber called it the Protestant work ethic, the idea that working hard, producing more, and earning wealth was a sign of spiritual worth, that prosperity was the proof of virtue. So over time, that's how morality got merged with the language of markets. And terminology changed as well. So things like greed turned into drive, excess became success. And money didn't just become a means to an end, it became an identity in itself. One of my favorite psychologists, Erich Fromm, drew a sharp line between two ways of living: the having mode, where life is about owning, accumulating, and defending, and the being mode, where life is about expressing, relating, and existing. He warned in the 70s that we were losing the ability to be because we were obsessed with having. And since then, that idea has permeated society, and we've developed that idea to create a world where our value is measured by our output, not by our depth, not by our presence, not by truth. And because of that, we're forever trying to earn enough to finally feel worthy. But like I said, this obsession with wealth is a relatively recent idea. And it wasn't everywhere in the world. It began in post-Enlightenment Europe, where industrial growth replaced spiritual growth, when the world shifted from community to commerce. As the European empires expanded, they carried with them not just their goods, but a new moral order, that progress equals profit, and that those who accumulate more are more civilized than those who live in balance. Colonization didn't conquer the land, it conquered the meaning in that land. Entire cultures were told that they had to evolve, they had to industrialize, they had to monetize, they had to modernize. To live well meant to earn. To be powerful meant to own. But before that myth arrived, many of these civilizations lived very differently. They saw power very differently. For Native Americans, for example, nature wasn't a resource, it was literally family. For Africans, the philosophy of Ubuntu, I am because we are, defined human worth. For Eastern traditions, from Hinduism to Taoism, power was harmony and not hierarchy. These distinct worldviews saw strength in alignment and not in domination. But the European colonial mindset replaced balance with control, replaced cooperation with competition. And now we come to a situation where even those countries that were never colonized live under that same empire, just through the media, the technology, and the markets that all pursue this idea about gaining wealth. So we end up in a situation where we measure progress by growth, not by wisdom, and we celebrate the richest people, not the wisest people. And this obsession with domination and our own growth, individual growth, has led to the power of the individual. We used to live as a group. We used to live through tribes, we used to live as family, as community, but now, as you can see, the self has now become an empire of just one. We praise independence. We worship self-made people. We tell people to build their brand, to be their own boss, to outshine everyone else. And we look down on those cultures where this doesn't take place. And as a result, we think us, the individual, can do anything, can dominate, can own anything. But I think what we're doing is we're confusing our isolation for that freedom. We've lost our meaning when we've gained our autonomy. Now, Nietzsche dreamt of the Übermensch, a human who could create his own values beyond the herd. But what modern society has done is turn that vision into marketing. We're selling self-creation through consumption. We're selling individualism through consumption. The right clothes, the right car, the right house, the right mindset. And we've built this new generation that just desperately wants to stand out because they feel so unseen. They want control because they feel powerless. But the problem is they're all competing for attention for the individual. That means that no one's really connecting. So you've got a group, a worldwide group of individuals who are all competing. And by definition, for one person to win, the other person has to lose. They're competing against everyone. And that competition has led to a loss of collaboration and a get rich by any means type mentality. Historian Noah Harari wrote that humanity's great strength lies in shared fictions, stories that let millions cooperate. And money has been the most successful story of all, a shared fiction. It means nothing. It only means something when we agree it means something. But this fiction, this idea of money and the pursuit of money at all costs, shapes everything. It's affected our climate, it's affected our oceans, it's affected our minds. And yes, it's made us ambitious. It's made us ambitious to gain more. And in that ambition, we're burning forests. We're flooding places. We call this growth, and there is undoubtedly unchecked growth taking place. If you look at salaries of top CEOs, if you look at the bonuses given out, this is unchecked growth being demonstrated. Unchecked growth is literally the definition of a disease. This myth of money tells us earn enough and you'll be free, control enough and you'll be safe, own enough and you'll be happy. But each of those promises leads us away from the things that we want: peace, belonging, meaning. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "We've become rich in means but poor in ends." So what we need is a bit of a revolution, not an economic revolution or technological revolution, but maybe an internal revolution. Like from a shift from power over to power with. And as Eric Fromm would say, from having to being. So I started with the quote, first you get the money, then you get the power. So let me finish with this thought. What if we tried to create a world where you needed neither money nor power? Thanks for listening. Make sure you press like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.